what is their use. Okay, so basically in this chapter we have, although they have given you in general, but we have done all the drugs under two headings: psychotropic drugs, psychedelic drugs. Okay, that is hallucinogens, etc. So then is we had divided them into various subcategories, and in the subcategories, all these cannabinoids, opioids, etc., they were coming under various subcategories or either stimulants or depressants, etc. Okay, I told you about, I showed you the picture of a poppy plant. How does the actual poppy plant looks like, and from where is that nectar extracted, which actually helps in the formation of the drug. Okay, and then modifications of this drug leads to more potent drug formation. Then cannabinoids also, I told you that I showed you the cannabinoid plant. How does that cannabinoid plant look like? And then from which part, how much potent cannabinoids are extracted. Okay. Then we had started with cocaine. And cocaine, I showed you the picture of a Erythroxylum coca plant that is native to South America. So these questions are important. This plant, it is extracted from, it is found in which country, what is the name of the plant, etc. Okay, even for identification these may come, although Erythroxylum coca plant is not there in, the picture is not given, so obviously that will not come for identification. They have instead given you another plant which is popularly used for extraction of of drugs that causes hallucination, and that is a drug in Rajasthan. If you look around yourself nowadays, it is flowering. It is found in large amount because it generally grows during the monsoon season, because the fruit of this plant is used for the like religious purposes. So savan ke somvar, etc., it is used for offering to the gods. Okay, and this is that plant. Although I picked it up yesterday, so you see this wide long, and they have a fruit which is it has got large amount of pickles on them. Okay, and this plant is known as the dhatura plant. And this dhatura plant, the fruit of this dhatura plant is offered on Mondays to the gods. Okay, so this is a plant you will see around you very commonly, and it is the source of a very potent hallucinogen. Okay, so what is the name of this dhatura plant? Although they have not given you in detail, but this dhatura plant, the name of this dhatura plant, it is also called as, let me tell you the exact name. Write down the name of this plant. It is known as Calendula officinalis. I repeat, Calendula officinalis. Okay, so the name of this dhatura plant, although not there in your NCERT, is Calendula officinalis. And world's most potent drug, that is the scopolamine. Scopolamine can be extracted from this type of a plant. Okay, and scopolamine, hydrostemine, atropine, all these are their various types of drugs which are extracted from this plant. Okay, then they are telling you about another plant, that is Atropa belladonna, and both of them are used for extraction of hallucinogens, that is which remove the ability of our body to differentiate between what is there and what is not there. We start imagining things. Okay, so these are these days cannabinoids. Now the remaining portion of this chapter we'll be doing from your NCERT. I'll give you a brief, and then you will open your NCERT so that I make you mark the important points. So first, let us see in gist what is given in the remaining parts. I'll open that PDF for you. Ma'am. Okay, so after we had done, only marijuana was left. Marijuana is dried leaves and leaf tops, although it's not given in detail here. It is smoked in cigarettes, and it causes psychosis, that is destruction of the brain. Okay, then is drug dependence. Now the next topic that we'll be taking up, because whatever is given here, drug and alcohol abuse, all this drug and alcohol abuse we have done by dividing all the drugs into various categories. Okay, they have not in NCERT, they have not followed the categories. We have done them in a sequence by dividing them into various categories. After this comes the next important topic, that is drug dependence. So why drugs they cause dependence, or what kind of dependence is caused by drugs? The dependence which is caused by drug is, first is psychological dependence. Develops when the individual believes that normal condition of well-being is achieved only through the action of drugs. Okay, so that is psychologically, it's not a fact, but the brain starts believing that their body will be able to be normal, be able to carry out its function normally only when they take this drug. Okay, so this psychological dependency, that the mind starts believing, if I don't take that drug, I will not be happy. If I don't take this drug, I will not be at peace, I will not be able to sleep. So that is psychological dependence, which is generally seen which in the case of these drugs. Next is physical dependence. Physical dependence or physiological dependence. Discontinuation of drugs results in withdrawal symptoms, as I told you, because they are blocking the receptors, they are removing the sensation of pain, they are controlling many of the many other functions, increasing the ability, increasing blood pressure. So once the body becomes habitual to all these drugs, that is, the blood pressure increases in the presence of these drugs, or it goes and affects some other functions of the body becomes so dependent on these drugs that in the absence of the drug, all these normal functions that were earlier taking on place on its own, they stop working. Okay, that for example, how do we understand this from a simple example? Have you ever visited Amer Fort and all these old forts? When you visit all these old forts, have you ever seen in any of the forts coolers or ACs being set up? No, no coolers were there, no ACs were there, no old age ACs you can see there. They had only that fan-like system that had to be pulled down, and it used to swing like this, and air used to come. So in this humid environment nowadays, the kind of humidity we are having, we are not able to survive properly in that fan that is blowing wind with a much faster pace than those old age fans. But people were habitual to it, so they were surviving. Next came the generation of coolers. Okay, and we were very happy. If we had a cooler, we were very happy. Okay, we are much better than those who are only having fans. And then if you used to come out of cooler, you used to feel very, very hot. Okay, I'm not able to survive without a cooler. Now the same place has been taken up by ACs. Okay, so in coolers, we don't feel relaxed till the time the AC is switched on. So what is that? Our physical dependence has changed. We have become dependent on many things. Our body was able to control its temperature. Evaporation causes cooling. Our body is self-sufficient to cool itself down. But since we started depending on other things to cool down our body, people have started sweating lesser. The wastes are not being thrown out, and the heat is not being dissipated from the body. So slowly and gradually, even these drugs cause physical dependence by controlling some of the functions of the body, and in the absence of drug, these functions are not controlled. So that is why severe withdrawal symptoms are seen when such drugs are not taken. That is this is this should be opiates, barbiturates, and other depressants such as benzodiazepines and alcohol produce physical dependence, because they block some of the other pathway of the body. They control, not block rather, they control some of the other pathway of the body. So that is why their dependence, they cause more of dependence. Okay, so that drug dependence can be categorized into two categories: physiological, that is in your mind, and physical, actually the processes are being controlled by these drugs. Okay, then is withdrawal symptoms. What type of withdrawal symptoms are generally seen? We know why these withdrawal symptoms are seen, but if suppose the drugs are discontinued suddenly, what are these common withdrawal symptoms which are generally seen? First is severe hypertension. You know, as biology students, that increased blood pressure is called as hypertension. It is not a tension of the brain. Okay, so severely nerves start taking place. There is acute adrenal deficiency, because what what adrenaline was controlling, the alcohol is doing the same thing. Okay, so if suppose body becomes used to taking of alcohol, then what happens on its own, the adrenaline synthesis, it decreases. The adrenal glands decrease their synthesis, and suddenly when these drugs, we stop taking these drugs, then what happens? It will take some time for adrenal gland to start its secretion again and go up to the same level. So because of acute adrenal deficiencies, many withdrawal symptoms may be seen. Then is frequency of seizures. Seizures means fits, because the brain was under the impact of these drugs, and suddenly withdrawing these drugs may lead to seizures, that is fits can occur. Worsening of angina pectoris, heart diseases may become, if the person was already suffering from heart diseases and was under the impact of some drug, and then he suddenly stops taking that drug, the condition of the heart disease may even worsen further. Okay. The solution is, what is the solution to reduce the withdrawal symptoms? We cannot eliminate the withdrawal symptoms, but yes, we can reduce the withdrawal symptoms by gradual withdrawing of drugs. As I told you, even in case of steroid medicines which are prescribed by doctor, they are not suddenly stopped by any doctor. They reduce the dose from 100 to 75 mg, 75 to 50, 50 to 25 mg, and slowly and gradually they stop the medicine. Similar way is withdrawal symptoms can be lesser drugs. So that is why these de-addiction centers have been made by the government, where slowly and gradually the habit of taking drugs is cured. Okay. Then what are the effects of drug abuse? How do you identify that person who is suffering from drug abuse? Who is drug abuse means who has developed this habit of taking drugs, nervousness and psychosis. Okay, he is not able to function properly, as if it seems as if he's a very confused person. He is not understanding what the things around him, or he is very nervous, too nervous with everything. It can also lead to AIDS and hepatitis if the drugs are taken via injections. Then sharing of the needles can lead to AIDS and hepatitis also, because they are if you talk about hepatitis is of various type, and hepatitis B is a sexually transmitted disease. Okay. Impotency, it reduces the sperm production, reduces the formation of ovaries, shrinkage of testes occurs on taking drugs. Chromosomal aberrations, chromosomal changes may also take place, and production of abnormal babies. We studied that if a mother is taking alcohol, then the organs of the baby may not develop properly, and therefore abnormal babies may be born. Effect on kidneys, because every drug, every kind of harmful substances either go to liver for detoxification or they go to the kidney for excretion. So these are the two organs which are first affected by any drug, or especially alcohol. Alcohol affects liver more, and other drugs can affect the kidneys more. Victims of various diseases, that is damage to organs. So many diseases may occur as and when whatever organ is affected, the disease related to that organ, disease related to improper functioning of that organ will develop. Hormonal changes, increase in cortisol levels, all these hormones, their level increases or decreases. So there's a change in hormones, in the production of hormones. Either the cortisol level increases, vasopressin, its secretion decreases, reversible decrease of serum thyroxine. So irreversible decrease in serum thyroxine, the amount of thyroxine by the thyroid gland, it also decreases greatly. So if all these functions, all these hormones, the secretion, the natural secretion of these hormones increases or decreases in the body, all the side effects or all the diseases resulting to deficiency caused due to deficiency of these hormones will be caused. Okay. Then it has an effect on the family, because the person who's taking drug is a burden on the family, plus it is a liability for the family. It is that person is a source of constant stress to the whole family. Okay, not only financial but also mental stress. So it has a very bad effect on the family, and it has a very bad effect on the society also, because it, the kind of friends you have, the kind of the people around you who are coming in contact with you, either because of the person who's taking drug, because of the type of actions that person is carrying out, or because the type of influence that person has on the people around them, can have a bad effect on the society also. Okay, how can we prevent, how can we prevent a person from falling in trap of these drugs? Okay, so prevention is not prevention of drugs, it is how to prevent a person from taking drugs, or control this behavior of, control this problem in the society of increasing druggists in the society. Okay, so the people who are taking drugs, how can we decrease their amount? First is avoid undue peer pressure. So we have to be more stronger at heart. And plus, first of all, something which we don't like, we should not do with others. If we don't like somebody showing off in front of us and creating a pressure on us, why do we show off in front of others? Okay, fine, maybe you are having an Apple iPhone, maybe you are having the latest type of gadgets with you, maybe you are having the latest kind of clothes with you, very expensive things with you. Why do you want to show off? You are wearing it because you find it good, you find it comfortable. Okay, then what is the need to show off? Okay, thank you, Aditya. If you're understanding that, this is something really very for all of you to understand. And board does give questions. These although value-based questions have been excluded by board, but these type of questions, because they are very important for youth nowadays. So these questions: what is the effect of drugs on the people, on or on the society, and how to prevent? Board generally tries to incorporate such questions so that indirectly value-based questions can be included in the paper. Okay, so avoid undue peer pressure. If the other person is very intelligent, if the other person is, suppose, is very good, is a master of all arts, then everybody is born different. We must accept those differences, we must accept what we are. Yes, we have to work harder, we have to keep improving ourselves, but not at the cost of going into depression. Okay, we are what we are, we cannot replace the other person. And we must understand that every person has an important role in the society, an important place in the society. So by coming under peer pressure and we are not able to handle that pressure, we fall into the trap of drugs, because that drug is giving us temporary relief. Okay, fine, you are, even if you don't have an Apple iPod, you are better than others, you are, that state of elevation comes in your mind temporarily. Okay, so this peer pressure should not be taken. Education and counseling: people who are not educated, who are illiterate, fall trap to these things more often. Okay, because you are educated, apart from knowing about a variety of drugs, you know their effect on your body and their ill effect on the body also. Till the time you know the ill effect of the body, see, the person who's offering you a drug will never tell you this is the ill effect. Okay, you decide this will the effect it will have on your body, and these are the bad effects it will have on your body, and now you decide whether you want to take or not. They'll just tell you, okay, go ahead, take this, because this will give you, remove your stress. Okay, you have an interview to come, you are stressed, have this drug, it will give you the confidence level. Okay, they will never tell you about the ill effects. That education will tell you. So if you are educated, you have the ability to demarcate between right and wrong. This is going to help you from avoiding these drugs. And counseling: if a person appears to be very much stressed, very much depressed, that immediate counseling of that person should be done, so that the person may not be lured towards these drugs. Then seeking help from parents and peers. Now, as a parent also, and as a parent to you all, teachers are the parents in school. As a parent also to you all, I would like to say that this is something which I think nowadays the youth, they do not like doing. They don't like sharing their problems with their parents. They like to share their problems with their friends. But fine, it is perfectly all right sharing your problems with your friends. But the thing is your friend worth it? Is your friend that intelligent that he'll be able to give you the right kind of an advice? If yes, out of experience you have felt yes, the person is very intelligent, he himself is absolutely right, he can guide you well, then go ahead. Otherwise, the best thing is look for some elder person, elder brother or sister, and best is not even your elder brother or sister, your parents, your father or your mother, whomsoever you can confide with, or to some extent your teachers. Okay, so you can confide in them, tell them your problem, and because they have crossed your age, they know what is the general problems of that age they have undergone, and they have come out of it. Maybe we committed some of the mistakes, and those mistakes now when we look back and we find, okay, if somebody would have guided me, I wouldn't have done this mistake. I have taken up this subject instead of this. If I had taken this subject, I was better in this, then my life would have been different. Okay, so if at your age, after learning, we have learned from our mistake, you still have to learn from your mistake. Because we have learned from our mistake, we can stop you from committing at least that same mistake which we committed. History is the record of progress alone. That is how history subject starts with. And why is this history taught? What has been done is done. Why do we need to study history? When you started studying SST, when it was separated from your environmental sciences, the first thing that was taught to you is, why are we studying history? We are studying this history to see what mistake our ancestors did, so that we don't do the same mistake, we don't commit the same mistake. If World War I took place, World War II took place, learn from it and do not let World War III happen. Okay, so this is why we are studying history. If suppose India Pakistan, they had a fight before, twice they fought, India China war was there, we are trying our best to avoid that war. Okay, so constantly the PM is doing efforts because he has learned that if a war takes place, it has a toll on the self country also. So people try to avoid the war more. Okay, even this corona has taught us many important lessons, how to fight with any epidemic. And this is not the first pandemic that has occurred in history. If you see 100 years back, again there was one more pandemic that had occurred, and that has also spread on a very wide scale. So yes, it is 100 years after which we are having a pandemic, but it has occurred in past. And if we had taken good lessons from that pandemic, maybe we could have handled this pandemic in a better way. Okay, so we have to learn from the history, and your history, the kind of problems which the youngsters face, your parents have already faced. So we have to confide in them and take their advice. Looking for danger signs. Now, this is the responsibility of every parent, every sibling, and every friend in the society. We have to keep looking in for danger signs. What are these danger signs? Whether if person is under depression, not for 1 day, 2 day, at a stretch for many weeks, 1 to 2 weeks, and the person is not coming out of depression. They can be momentary things, that we are in tension, we are stressed, we are not feeling hungry, we are losing interest in something we were very interested in. But if this pursues for a very long time, then it can be a dangerous sign. So we have to keep looking for those danger signs. And if we find that danger sign in any one of our friends around us, any person around us, even elders, they suffer from depression. Okay, nowadays you must have heard, since after Sushant Singh Rajput's death, so many types, so many reviews, so many things they are coming on mental depression and how to deal with it. Okay, so go through all those things, listen to all those things, because his death should be a learning lesson for us how to deal with depression. Here we are talking about drug abuse. So if a person is has started taking drugs, some changes, some permanent changes will be seen in his behavior, in his uh, the way he is reacting to things around him or her. And we have to look for these danger signs so that the right treatment or the addiction can be done at the right time. Seeking professional and medical help, as I told you, if we want that person should stop taking drug immediately, that is not possible. We have to go and look for professional and medical help so that slowly and gradually the addiction can be done. So prevention and control can be done by all these methods. Apart from this, I told you morphine and cannabinoids, its structures are very, very important. Okay, now quickly open your NCRTs to page number 160. page number 160. And if you want, what I'll do is I'll switch off my video. I'll switch off my video, and you all can, just in order to reduce your screen time, I'm reading from the book, and you read along, and I'll tell you what points you have to mark from your book. Okay, so the first point they're telling you is about smoking. That is, tobacco has been used by human beings for more than 400 years. Although we did all this tobacco, alcohol, etc., we started with drug addiction with tobacco chewing, alcohol addiction, etc. So they are telling you that tobacco contains a large number of chemical substances, including nicotine, which is an alkaloid. And what is the function of nicotine? I've told you, it works similar to adrenaline. So it stimulates, nicotine stimulates adrenal gland to release adrenaline and noradrenaline into blood circulation, both of which raise blood pressure and increase heart rate. So in the absence of nicotine, when suddenly tobacco chewing is stopped, adrenal gland on its own does not produce sufficient amount of adrenaline and noradrenaline. The deficiency of both will have severe withdrawal symptoms. Okay. Then is smoking is associated with increased incidence of cancers of lung, urinary bladder and throat, bronchitis, emphysema, coronary heart disease, gastric ulcers, etc. Okay, so these are the problems that will occur. Just a minute. Write down the meaning of emphysema. Which, although when I had explained this part, I told you what is the meaning of emphysema, a condition in which the air sacs of the lungs, are damaged and enlarged, causing breathlessness. Okay, let's continue. I hope you understand gastric ulcers, ulcers in the stomach or the gastric region. Ulcers are what? Non-healing wounds are known as ulcers. Very deep-seated wounds are known as ulcers. It is very difficult to treat gastric ulcers because in the stomach constantly HCl is being produced. So if ulcers occurs once, it takes a very long time to heal because that HCl production cannot be stopped. So that HCl keeps on deepening the wounds. Tobacco chewing is associated with increased risk of cancer in the oral cavity. Smoking increases carbon monoxide content in the blood, and we know that hemoglobin, that carbon monoxide has a much greater affinity for hemoglobin, okay, than carbon dioxide. So if carbon monoxide is formed, it quickly combines with hemoglobin and decreases the ability of hemoglobin to bind with carbon dioxide. Yes, Aditya?
Ma'am, but mucus production takes place in stomach.
Yes. So mucus production is taking place, but I'm talking about a condition where wounds are being created. That means that, forget about mucus, the whole epidermis has got destroyed. Deep-seated wound is known as ulcers. So at the region of the ulcer, there is no mucus production taking place. The place where those wounds have occurred. Okay, so that is why HCl can worsen the situation. Okay, then let's proceed. When one buys packets of cigarettes, one cannot miss the statutory warning that is present on the packing, which warns against smoking and says how it is injurious to health. Yes, yet smoking is very prevalent in society, both among young and old. Knowing the dangers of smoking and chewing tobacco and its addictive nature, the young and the old needs to avoid these habits. Any addict requires counseling and medical help to get rid of that habit. Any person who is addicted and addict needs counseling and medical help. Then let's come to adolescence and drug abuse. I'll just read out the important parts which I find in this, although you have to go through each and every line, but the important parts I'll read out and you can just underline those parts. What is adolescence? The first part. Yes, Aditya?
Ma'am, so why government doesn't ban such type of products in the market?
Can't hear you, bache. Repeat.
Like smoking and tobacco consumption are really injurious to health. So why don't government initiate this like step to just like ban these products?
See the amount of revenue government is getting out of it. So they have given you that warning on it, and they're constantly increasing the price. You see, in every budget, they are increasing the price of cigarettes. Still, the amount of the it is the extent to which it is being sold is not going down. So they are, see, why was liquor was stopped during lockdown, and then only liquor shops were opened, and so much of profit was done within few days. So this, all these industries, they earn a large amount of revenue for the government. So government is issuing a warning. Okay, rest is, it's in the hand of the people whether they want to avoid it or not. Okay. So adolescence means a period and a process during which a child becomes mature in terms of his or her attitudes and beliefs for effective participation in the society. So adolescence is not only a period when a person gains reproductive maturity, it is also a time when a person becomes mature in his attitudes. You develop that ego is developed and becomes so very high that sometimes it gets higher than the ego of your parents. Yes. So yes, this is something very normal. Why? Because this is the time you are developing. See, anything which occurs for the which comes in you for the very first time, you take time to digest it. By the time you are in college and you are into jobs, you come to know of the harsh reality, and that ego level goes down. Okay, but yes, when suddenly that you have become big and you develop that mustaches and beards, and you feel, oh, I'm equivalent to my father now. Okay, so I can take decisions, and I should be given as much independence as the elders in the family. So at that time, yes, these are the problems. We see an elder smoking cigarettes. If that person can, why can't I? Whereas you are, if you are more educated than that person, you should be the first one to stop that elder person. You should not take this tobacco. You should not smoke, because I know what are the harmful effects. Maybe you are not knowing. Let me tell you the harmful effects. But the reverse happens. So that means, okay, smoking cigarette means manliness. I will look like James Bond if I smoke a cigarette. Okay, so that there goes your ego and lets you down. Okay, so next point, curiosity, need for adventure and excitement, and next paragraph I'm reading, and experimentation constitutes common causes. I think I'll switch on my video. You can reduce your screen time by looking at your books only, okay? And if it is not possible, then I'll switch off my video. Please let me know. Curiosity, need for adventure and excitement, and experimentation constitute common causes which motivate youngsters towards drug and alcohol use. So these are some of the things which pull the youngsters towards drug. Okay, so a child's natural curiosity motivates him or her to experiment. This is complicated further by effects that might be perceived as benefits of alcohol or drug use. So what happens? What are actually the harmful effects of the drugs are considered as the benefits of the drug by the youngsters, because they believe in experimenting. Okay, the other person took a drug and then he was very confident and he didn't feel any pain. He was not stressed. Let me do the same. I'll gain more confidence for giving my examinations. Okay, and in this way you become habitual toward drug. So what is what are the effects? First is the first use. Thus, the first use of drug or alcohol may be out of curiosity or experimentation. So what are the steps how a person falls prey to a drug? First is out of curiosity, he wants to try. Okay, everybody is trying, all my friends are trying, let me try it. Okay. Second step is using later the child starts using these to escape facing problem. Once you took that drug just for experimenting, you felt, okay, I'm not facing, I'm feeling so stress free. See, it's a divine feeling I'm having. Next time when you're stressed, okay, I took that drug and I felt so light, let me try it once again when I'm stressed. Okay, so when in stress, they try taking it again. Third step is stress. Of late, stress from pressures to excel in academics or examination has played a significant role in pursuing the youngsters to try alcohol and drugs. So you started taking them under some conditions of stress. Later, whenever you had examinations, whenever you felt, okay, no, I'm stressed, you started taking those drugs. Fourth is perception among you that it is cool or progressive to smoke. Okay, if a person is smoking, just like I told you, you feel like a James Bond holding that cigarette, or used to see in those Hindi movies, na Ajit, he used to smoke that cigar. Okay, so I look like a hero, or I look like that dashing villain, and if I hold that cigar and smoke that cigar, so this perception that you will look cool also pulls you towards taking drugs. Then is television, movies, newspaper, internet also promote the perception. That is why nowadays you must have seen that it has been banned by the film industry, in the film industry, to show a person's smoking. Okay, although they do show people drinking, which should also be banned, but smoking, showing a person smoking has been altogether banned. Why? Because it was considered cool. Okay, that is my, he is my favorite hero, or she's my favorite heroine, and she used to smoke in that movie. She or he or used to drink in that movie. So if I do the same, I'll be a good fan, or I'll be a true follower of my hero or heroine. Okay, so even these things, newspapers, advertisements, etc., they promote smoking and drug use. Then is unstable or unsupportive family structures and peer pressures are the last thing which pull a person towards the habit of drugs. There's a problem in the family is not stable, the parents have separated, or there are constant fights in the family, the elders are fighting amongst one another. Okay, there's a fight in the close family. So all this pressure, because of this pressure, the person is so very stressed that they fall prey to all these drugs. And of course, last is the peer pressure. Then is the next topic, that is drug addiction and dependence. Okay, so addiction, what is addiction? Come to the third line. Addiction is a psychological attachment to certain effects, such as euphoria, feeling of divinity, that is you are too good. Euphoria is feeling of wellness. Okay, and a temporary feeling of well-being associated with drugs and alcohol. So this is the first reason why people become addicted to drugs. These drive people to take them even when they are not needed. You are not in any stress. You are not. You don't need that. Your body does not need those drugs, but just you want to get that feeling of wellness. Okay. With repeated use of drug, the tolerance level of receptors present in our body increases. Consequently, the receptors respond only to higher doses of drug or alcohol, leading to greater intake and addiction. So initially, maybe by just having 10 grams of, I don't know the values in which these drugs are taken, but if suppose by taking only 10 grams of a drug, you were having that feeling of euphoria, that feeling of wellness. After taking that amount of drug, after suppose 4 to 5 uses or 10 uses, mere 10 gram will not give you that same amount of feeling, because the receptors, they get used to that high dose of drug. So 10 gram will not affect the receptors. You may have to take 15 to 20 grams next time to get that same level of, say, feeling of wellness. After that, maybe 40 grams. After that, maybe 100 grams gives you the same feeling. So accordingly, the dose of the drug goes on increasing, because the receptors get habitual to the drug, which you are already, the amount you are already taken. Then is use of these drugs even once can be a forerunner to addiction. एक जो common myth youth में होता है, एक बार लेके देख लेने से क्या होता है? Let me try it once. Okay, so that is why NCERT mentions this line very clearly, and it's a fact that taking these drugs even once can be a forerunner of addiction, can push you towards the habit of addiction. So even for once, even for trying, even for experimenting, these drugs should never be taken. Okay. Then is withdrawal symptoms. We have already discussed withdrawal symptoms. Aditi, please mute yourself. What are these withdrawal symptoms? Dependence is the tendency. Come to the second paragraph on page 161. Dependence is the tendency of the body to manifest a characteristic and unpleasant withdrawal symptom if regular dose of drug or alcohol is abruptly discontinued. Okay, so this is what because our body has become dependent to that drug. So if suddenly these drugs are stopped, it will lead to withdrawal symptoms such as anxiety, shakiness, nausea, sweating, which may be relieved when the use is resumed. Withdrawal symptoms can be severe and even life-threatening, and the person may need medical supervision. I've told you many other withdrawal symptoms apart from these. Okay, quickly, I know the period is over. I'll just take 3 more minutes. Let's do this. Effect of drug or alcohol abuse. What are the effects? First effect, let's mark point wise. First effect is immediate adverse effect of drug and alcohol abuse are manifested in the form of reckless behavior, not a controlled behavior. Vandalism is what? You destroy the public property. You go and start destroying public property. And violence. The person becomes very, very violent. Second effect of drug and alcohol abuse is excessive dose of drugs may lead to coma and death due to respiratory failure. There are many movies in which you must have seen that even by mistake, if a person consumes an overdose of drug, immediate death may occur due to immediate respiratory failure. So the person may go into coma or may also die immediately if doses are exceeded. Third is, come to the fifth line, over combination of drugs or the intakes along with alcohol generally results in overdosing. If suppose along with drug, alcohol is also taken, both are having effect on the brain, this will result in overdosing and may even lead to immediate death. Okay. Then is the most common warning. Now, this was effects of drug and alcohol abuse. And what are the warning signals? How do we come to know? I told you we have to look for warning signals. So underline the warning signals we must use for. First is drop in academic performance. If it is a degraded, if it is a very slow drop, no problem. A sudden drop in academic performance. Then is unexplained absence from college or school. The person has left for school, is not coming to school, and this is not happening for a day or two. It is happening for many days. Lack of interest in personal hygiene, doesn't like taking a bath, doesn't like changing clothes, doesn't like grooming him or herself well. Then withdrawal from the society, from the friends, not speaking to the friends, not interacting with the friends. Isolation, loves to remain aloof from everybody. Depression, seems to be always in depression. Fatigue, seems as if the person is always tired, even if he just got a 1 hour back and he's feeling very tired. Aggressiveness, even a small thing makes that person become violent and start fighting. Rebellious behavior, father said no to this thing, now so I will definitely do it. See, all youths have this rebellious behavior, but if this rebellious behavior is beyond control, then that can be a sign of drug abuse. Then is deteriorating relationship with family. Had a very good relationship with parents, but now suddenly has started fighting with parents for everything, with siblings for everything, doesn't behave properly with friends. Loss of interest in hobbies. You loved to play some game, you love to listen to some music, you were a very good musician. Suddenly you lose interest in all these habits, all these hobbies. Change in sleeping and eating habits. Suddenly the diet has decreased suddenly or has increased suddenly, and the sleep wake pattern has suddenly changed. Again, I'm saying suddenly change. It can be a gradual change also, then it is normal. If it is a sudden change, then it is something abnormal. Fluctuations in weight and appetite. Some day eats too much, some day he doesn't eat anything. Okay, and this is a constant pattern. And the weight either suddenly reduces drastically or suddenly gains drastically. So these are the warning signals we can look for in a person. Okay, so we'll continue with this page number 161. Only